Let's go. All right, welcome back, everyone. We are now joined by Lumina's writer-director, Gino McKoy, and star Eleanor Williams. Gino, Eleanor, thank you for joining us, and congratulations on the film. I just got done speaking with Sydney and Ken, so I'm looking forward to talking with you guys. Again, congrats. How you guys feeling with the premiere coming up Friday in LA? How's it feeling for you guys?
Feels great. Thank you so much. We're excited. We
I bet.
come a
I
long
bet.
way. Come a long way from COVID to shoot this movie, and now it's coming out, man. Like we're
The
blessed.
day's here. The day's here. So, Gino, let me get started with you. Lumina has a lot of story packed into that script. First of all, what was the inspiration for telling this alien abduction story in the way that you did, blending it with a love story and a love triangle?
Oh wow. I think I wanted to see the impact that abduction would have on certain people if their loved one was abducted by aliens. And I think that really drove my creative writing side to write a story to see the psychological effect that would have on a group of friends and how far they will go and how far you will go if you want to save the one you love. And I think that really piqued my interest in terms of writing something that would affect someone psychologically and seeing the reaction of people to that.
And yeah, absolutely. Now, Eleanor, you play the main love interest of Jeff, I believe is the character's name, if I'm not mistaken. But there is some, what can I say? You're insecure in the relationship that he still may have feelings for a woman. As the film progresses with your character, how do you see that changing in Tatiana, which is the character you play?
Yeah, well, I think at the beginning of the movie, their relationship hasn't necessarily been tested. I think she does have insecurities. I mean, you've watched the film, you've seen Andrea in real life, you know how beautiful that woman is. So anyone would be insecure with that woman in the vicinity of their man. Um,
Right.
and I think she plays it so well, and she is just she toes that line between kind of being the villain, I guess, of the
Hmm.
first act, but equally just being kind of lovable. And I totally see the audience being like, maybe we want her to succeed because she is just so good at it, and it's so opposite to how she is in real life. Gino, I know you can agree with me there.
Yeah, I
Now,
think I think Andrea is like she straddles between that devil and angel on the
mhm,
shoulder, you know.
yeah,
She's
yeah,
she's definitely infectious and she has that type of energy when she comes into it. That like, her objectives are very like, made aware of by everyone. Everyone's aware of her objectives and like what she wants to
exactly,
achieve.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Eleanor, Tatiana, we find out sort of a big reveal that we're not going to spoil here, but as we see her in the beginning, do you think that she believes that she can escape her past?
I think she's trying to. I think it's something that really plagues her, actually. You can kind of see, I think, I definitely felt it with Gino's writing. There's something there that's torturing her, that she doesn't feel comfortable speaking to Alex about. Um,
Yeah,
and I think, to kind of touch back on your previous question as well, I think, she does have those insecurities at the beginning in herself and in the relationship, but towards the end, because of the length that this man has gone to for the one that he loves, then there's no doubt in her mind,
exactly.
I think.
Exactly. I mean, by the time I got to the end, I'm like, all right, if there was any doubt in Tatiana's mind, it should be completely gone by now. Now, Gino, the character of Delilah, is such a mysterious character that the audience, I mean, I I find liking her, then I was as a second later not liking her. Yeah, yeah, we were always on the fence on which way this character was going to go. Is that how you wanted her on the screen? Is that how you really wanted Delilah to be sort of like this big question mark for the audience and what are her true intentions here?
Yeah, I felt like Andrea did exactly like how I envisioned the role to be, um, mysterious, to be, the catalyst
Mm-hmm.
in a certain sense of the story arc. And I think she goes in there and she like gets in between, and she's in the weeds, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
she's in the trenches, and she's there, and she presents herself in so many different ways, and it's kind of like you like that emotional roller coaster because people it's like true to life, like you get that in real life experiences where you have people that are like you love them, you hate them one moment, and that's what
Yeah.
I really wanted out of it. And I felt it was a lot more intriguing to the audience to have somebody that's dynamic in that sense.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Now, Andrea, by the time we get to the third act, sorry, not Andrea, Eleanor, by the time we get to the third act, you guys are really in like this different environment, okay? You are like really getting down and dirty, for lack of a better term. When they came with working with Gino and you guys are like in the desert and working in this what seems to be these really hostile areas. As an actor, how difficult was that for you, and what kind of role did Gino play in sort of setting the tone for what will be there when the final product is released, when the effects are added, and really helping you get in touch with what your surroundings are going to be?
I think there's a fire alarm going off where I am, so I'm going to talk through it and we'll see if you can hear that.
No, I
But
can't hear it.
okay, good. But I think yeah, Gino was very helpful in kind of like leading us through. He kept certain things about the set and what was going to happen a secret from us. It stopped now. Very good. Oh my God, that stressed me out so much.
We were about to tell you evacuate.
Yeah, I know. It's like another abduction is going to happen in a second. But yeah, we were just totally blessed with the setting of the movie. I think that Morocco is actually kind of like another character, another part of the ensemble, because it just lent so much to the story that Gino's created. And we so enjoyed kind of being there and working together. And I think something we actually haven't touched on in these interviews so far is that, not only were we there during COVID, but we were there during Christmas. We spent Christmas Day together, Gino.
Oh
Wow.
And
yes, we
so
did.
yeah, and so immediately
We
we
had
got
we had turkey.
we did turkey and a tagine, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it just meant that there was such a feeling of teamwork, and we went on this journey together.
Now, Gino, I just spoke with Sydney, who plays Patricia, and I asked her, Patricia is placed in such a bad situation. She has three friends who are sort of in like this unknown love triangle to them at the time, and she's in the
Mhm.
middle of it, knowing sort of everyone's secret. What was your intention with the character of Patricia, and why did you have to place her in that rough spot between three of her friends in relation to how it plays out into the story and its overall plot?
I think Patricia's a very strong character. She's going
She
through her
is.
own personal conflicts. Um, she navigated that well in terms of her character, and she has a very bubbly personality.
Yes.
She has a
Yeah.
very lively personality, and she has a very infectious character in the movie, and she plays an important role because she's a go-between. She's like the voice of reason
Yeah.
in certain instances where she's like, well, we shouldn't be doing this. Like, she really has her instincts and her intuition, and she's very intuitive. The character's very intuitive. She's a dreamer, and like she thinks a lot and everything else. And that I feel we needed that type of presence there because there's so many things going on. It's complex. The
Hmm.
relationships there are complex. And I think that she brings some sanity to the madness.
Exactly. She is the sane one out of the group, without a doubt. And then it would be probably Tatiana.
Yeah,
Now,
Tatiana is the other one, but then Tatiana also has a lot of mystery.
exactly, exactly. That she's
Yeah, she
repressing.
doesn't
That's
she doesn't feel that sane.
now, now, Andrea, in your opinion, Delilah, sorry, again, Eleanor, when it comes to Delilah, is so driven to getting Alex that she has absolutely no regard. At least it comes across that way, that she has absolutely no regard as to who she hurts in the process. Do you think that is something your character, Tatiana, is aware of, or is she completely bamboozled and under the spell and fooled by her charms?
Yeah, I think she is to a certain extent, because there are moments even there, and it's not necessarily like flirting, I suppose, but she is still quite pleasant with Tatiana. I think she's kind of playing both of them to get what she wants. And I think, you know, these are mature women in this script, and in an ideal world they get on and there's no conflict between them, because it's all about the man, and two women shouldn't be fighting over a man and that sort of thing. So I think that, you know, in Tatiana's heart, that's what she'd like to believe. She feels the tension, but Delilah's such a charming character that I think it's impossible to ignore the effect that she has on everyone.
Yes, yes, yes. With
It
her,
also doesn't help that both of them are British, so they have
that
Got
actually
that
leads
extra
me.
British charm.
That actually
so both of
leads
them
me.
have that, like, yes, a beautiful way of twisting the knife in the back, while saying
Yeah.
elegantly, an
Now,
elegant way.
Gino, that actually leads me to my next question. Why did you choose LA as sort of the starting center point for this story, as opposed to somewhere in the UK and in the United Kingdom? Why did it have to be
LA is
LA?
home for me. LA is home for me,
Okay,
I grew up in Toronto, but I moved to LA like 14 years ago, and it's like, my home as well. And um, also a lot of my experiences in the film industry, a lot of my experiences with people with MUFON and the alien abduction groups and everything else has been in Los Angeles and California. It's a very big presence there. Um, that's why I chose LA. I wanted
okay,
to, and LA is a transplant hub. There's
yeah,
transplants from everywhere that go to LA, from the UK, Canada, everywhere, all parts of
everywhere.
the United States. And it's really a melting pot. It's such diversity in terms of, like, so many different people from so many parts of the world coming there to do movies, and coming there to make and coming there to achieve their dreams. And that's the reason why I started with LA. I think it was a perfect location.
Now, here's what I think is a sort of a tough question. Okay, the three female leads, very powerful actors, very powerful characters. When it came to, you picked Eleanor for Tatiana, okay? You picked Andrea for Delilah. When it came to casting these characters, what made you go with Eleanor for Tatiana, with Sydney for Patricia, and so on? What did you see in each and every one of them that said, you know what, they're the right one for this role?
Good question.
Thank you.
Eleanor has a certain grace to it that I saw with some of her other roles. And she her acting style is withheld, if you understand what I'm saying. She conveys her emotions through her facial expressions in her ways,
Yeah.
without having to say it. And I saw some of that in her previous reels and everything else when I was casting her. And I said, I think that she's going to bring that type of grace to the scene. So that's why I chose her for that part. Andrea has a certain fire to her too, right?
Oh yeah.
And I thought she would be perfect for Delilah, as someone who could be manipulative, but still come across as, oh, you may love me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a love-hate relationship with Andrea, and I thought that I would get that from her, and I saw that in the reels and when I spoke to her and everything else for the actual audition. Patricia has a certain whereabout as a common influence,
And
but
the
she could be
audience
funny.
feels very empathetic to her.
Yes, and she could also go from serious to funny
Yeah.
at the same time. And she's playful and she's childish. in the role. There's a certain child in her there, the role, with innocence, and she brings those different attributes to her character. And I thought that would be really good for the character of Patricia because she's a go-between. She's in between everything. And so, and the person that has to be in between everything, in between this big catalyst of problems and chaos, there has to be a common influence. And she tries to be motherly in the actual role itself,
Hmm.
in terms of giving guidance, in terms of giving advice and everything else. And she has strong opinions, and I believe she was perfect for that.
Yeah, I agree. I think you casted each and every one of them perfectly for the characters that were meant to play. Now, Eleanor, now that the film is done, when you got to see the final product, and what were your feelings? Were you like, wow, because when you're filming it, it's different than when you actually sit down in a theater and you see the movie. What were your thoughts when you saw the film? I assume you have seen the final film.
I
And
have, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
well, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, it did feel wow. It's really difficult, I think, to be objective when you've gone on such a journey with it, because I'm not watching it as an audience member necessarily. I'm watching it and thinking, oh my God, it was so cold that night, or oh my God, I just had the best late night snack. I remember that scene, it's so you have all these memories attached to it. But I think for me, and it made me just so emotional to see the work of my colleagues, because I was there. I just saw everyone working so hard. I saw things happen. I wasn't in as much of the ensemble moments as the rest of the cast, but Gino allowed me to come on set and be with him in Video Village and see those moments and the hard work that would go into them. So I was actually just kind of squealing with delight the whole time about watching my beautiful fellow cast members and the hard work of Gino and all his other creative departments come to life. So it was just like my face ached afterwards because I was just like the whole time.
That is amazing. I want to thank you guys again, Gino, writer, director, the cast. Thank you guys for coming on here and sharing just a little bit of this film. Again, the film is called Lumina. It's coming out to theaters Friday, July 12th. So that's like 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks from now. It's an edge of your seat science fiction horror film that will really keep you guessing throughout. And it is a roller coaster ride. It will take you to places that you didn't think. Gino, before we go, before the
Mhm.
final credits come up, you put this blurb up there about alien abductees. Why was that important for you?
Um, After the interviews I've had with people who are former Marines and in the U.S. military and other branches, and the some of the ridicule and pushback that they got, and these are really good people,
Hmm.
sane people, and their experiences, real experiences that they've had. I felt it was necessary to share that with everyone, saying that if it can happen to me, it can happen to you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It can happen to anyone, and this is real. Aliens are real. Um, People on other planets are real. Like life does exist outside of our planet,
Hmm.
and people have had those type of real experiences, and they're sane and they're believable and they're true. And I felt the need for the audience to see that. This is important.
I was impressed by that. I was impressed that you put that up there before the credits. So kudos to you on that. Again,
Thank you,
thank you
brother. I appreciate it.
guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much. It was a pleasure, man. Absolute
Yeah,
pleasure. Thank you so
pleasure
much.
was all mine. Thank you again. Congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
For all our viewers, stay safe, stay walking. Bye, everybody.
Take
All
care.
right, that was awesome. Thank you guys